dimension of mind, a dimension of mind, a dimension of mind, a dimension of mind. You unlock this door with the key of imagination, or 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 with the key of imagination.
Wordsworth, Romney, obsolescence.
You walk into this room at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace. This is Mr. Romney Wordsworth in his last 48 hours on Earth. He's a citizen of the state, but will soon have to be eliminated. Because he is built out of flesh, and because he has a mind.
You've been under investigation, Mr. Wordsworth, for the mandatory period of 1 year and 11 months. You're found to be obsolete. The purpose of this hearing is to make a finding in the matter and make a sentence accordingly. Do you understand that, Mr. Wordsworth?
You have nothing but spindly limbs and a dream, and the state has no use for your kind.
I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I'm a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought aloud, that thought lives, even after I'm shoveled into my grave.
The first generation wireless, 1G, was voice. The second generation, 2G, allowed both talk and text. The third generation, 3G, the internet, in a limited way. And today's technology, 4G, completed that digital migration. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way.
I have to tell people 5G is a killer. I'm Mark Steele. Anybody who hasn't heard me, I'm a weapons systems head-up display expert, one of the leading experts in the world. I've actually brought cover in relation to this, and the reason I became an expert was because I invented it. What I'm going to say to you today, do not believe a single word I say. Not one. I want you to do your own research.
And we're going to talk about 7G too. But get a load of this commercial, which I am not going to play the sound for. Now check this out. This is their T-Mobile secret 5G lab right here, okay? I want you to notice the color scheme. Notice how everything is purple, scarlet, right? Red and blue combinations, just like the Morgellons. And now they're ready to cut loose with the 5G. But before they do, they get an incoming call from John the Revelator, because this is all prophesied. This is the mark of the beast and the beast system being put into effect. Then the CEO pops up. He's representing the angel of light right in front of your eyes. That's what it is. And he tells them to light it up.
It's time. Let's light it up.
And they got their little T-Mobile Tau Cross logos on. And they're getting ready to launch ICBMs because they're going through the same sequence you would go through for a missile launch.
Enter launch code.
Entering launch code. Target sequence complete.
Insert launch key.
T-minus 50.
Number 1 enabled. 2 enabled.
On my mark, rotate launch keys to launch.
Roger, ready to go to launch.
And notice the keys. Boom.
Let's light it up.
And look what they launch. You just can't make this stuff up, you guys. They are releasing the demons into the world through this medium. The chemtrails, the 5G, the airwaves, so on and so forth, and releasing them out into the world. Look at that. It looks like Kansas, don't it? Looks just like Kansas.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
These look like chemtrails, and they're turning the whole landscape into this purple hellhole, putting you into an augmented reality and harvesting your life energy, your light, your very will, because that's what they want, your free will, and most will freely give it up, eventually taking the mark of the beast.
Yeah. And we're just getting started.
Wait until they see what's next.
This is no joke, folks. This is the real deal. You're dealing with the prince of the power of the air, powers and principalities in high places. It's interesting that Verizon had a Super Bowl experience with the 5G, and I guarantee you they conducted a multitude of experiments that we may never see or know about, but I guarantee it. This is all ultimately the synagogue of Satan. They have communications with the fallen, with the Nephilim. That's who they are. The color out of space is what they are setting up. This is Satan's beast system manifesting before your eyes. And they distribute all the media through the chemtrails, as well as controlling the weather with it. You'll notice that when the Morgellons is shown in people, it's always the red and blue, purple. The nanoscale DNA porphyrin complex for artificial light harvesting. Search these terms, and you will find that these are actual products being used for actual applications in the chemtrails.
They are pre-programmed, but they are activated when they're given their working orders. Basically, when the military, the top secret classified military frequency is sent out, is emitted, they get that frequency order. Okay, now it's time to do your task. Once they're done with their task, they report back. Or if it's a continuing task, they report as they go.
This is what's going on. The chemtrails change the climate because that's your climate change. What do you think is going to happen when you dump trillions of tons of nanoparticulates into the atmosphere? You're going to change the climate. You understand? They're playing God, and they're distributing nanotech through the chemtrails.
It's airborne. It's not a single fiber here and there. It is glowing under UV light. So if you take a UV lamp at night, you can see those fibers airborne. And there are billions of them. And these fibers is infecting the human body. And with 95% or 99% of the people, nothing special happens. They just function as a plasmonic antenna to send out a signal, but you don't get sick from it. You don't get ill. No visible symptoms. So we would guess 100% of the population is infected. Some of the people cannot handle it. And at a certain point, they are extracted via the skin. And you can see that they have this ability to collect colors. You have blue Morgellons and you have red Morgellons. And nobody knows where these colors come from because they are of technical origin. It's not a natural substance. So you can see them when the skin is opening. You can see them under the microscope if you make a blood analysis. And you can let them grow artificially in a petri dish. And if you look at them, you see they're a little bit more complex than a simple fungus. They have kind of organs inside. They have little red stem cells of an unknown species that are self-replicating as well.
Which works in sync with the 5G and the 6G and the 7G. We're going to talk about that. The color out of space. This is what we're dealing with.
That little guy in a pentagram, these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons. but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones.
There's only one way out of this darkness, and that is Jesus Christ. The blood of the Lamb is the only defense against this. It's interesting how Kansas in the English is 390, which is 13 times 30, correct? And coronavirus in the Jewish is 1303, and in the English it's 930. That's not an accident. It's because it's all intertwined. And this coronavirus is a huge experiment, if you will, that has gone fairly hot. They may take it hot worldwide and just start quarantining and forcing vaccinations on people. This is really a possibility. You need to be prepared for these things. Spiritually, number one, and physically and mentally prepare yourself for the things that are coming. That you're going to see and experience things that are not going to be pleasant. And it'll be very tempting to just dive into your 5G augmented world to escape it. And that's what most people will do. And they'll just submit their will right over to this beast system, ending up with the mark of the beast and total separation from God. You do not want that.
Hopefully this will help wake them up. But the reason I do call this playing God a role of a lifetime is that is what is going on all around us all the time. It is an enemy of humanity, not an enemy against Christianity or a race of people, a religion, a nation. It is the enemy, true enemy of humanity. If you look around you from that perspective, you can clearly see that the enemy is trying to modify humanity. They've already started modifying food, modifying the weather, geoengineering it, also using the weather as a weapon. Can cause hurricanes, cause earthquakes in certain places of the world. A lot of people thought that was science, just science fiction or conspiracy years ago, just like they thought fluoride in our drinking water was a conspiracy. Now that's pretty out in the open. So there's a lot of things that people are waking up to that's hard for them to hear now that you may think is a conspiracy, but later on, as we uncover things, we find out that it's not conspiracy. It's just waking up people in areas of the world, using the alternative media to do that, because we know that the media and the movies presented to us on the mainstream television are propaganda.
And she also analyzed the single color particles that she found in the air, also the color airborne, that then at a certain point is entering the mycelium after it replicated within the human body. Yeah, so this is coming to the concept of self-assembling nanobots. Self-assembly means you spray the fiber, it is replicating, you spray the color, and within the human body the color and the fiber is mounting to a working unit. This is what you call self-assembling nanobot. If you just take the chemical formulas of these colors, and if you look at this, you can find all the things connected to the Morgellons disease. You find like large area self-assembled plasmonic photonic crystals. If you go into this publication, you find these hexagonal forms. And if you look for the function, actually this is a thing that is collecting a radio signal and turning the radio frequency into DNA-readable light impulses within the body. So this is the reading unit. If you look down there, you have photonic crystal fibers. If you look what they do, it's normally they talk about carbon nanotubes filled with these colors, with these quantum dot chemistry. And the function is to collect light processed by the DNA and turn it into a readable signal. If you put the two together, this goes beyond the novel. You get a read-write unit. I can take one person, make him angry, read out his anger, digitize it, put it on an antenna, and address 100 people that are not angry. And if they have this biology within their system, they will feel exactly the same experience of anger, like a tape recorder. record the human experience, the overall human experience of a human, and you can tell by the colors what this includes.
Reading and transmitting light signals, electroluminescent light, which is what your body produces in every function, every thought, every intention, every feeling. They have positive and negative energies, and they are harvesting that from you in order to control you. This is the plan. I'm just telling you. Self-assembly, electroluminescent, double helical, metal polymers, and photonic crystal fibers. Look this stuff up. It's creating the Minority Report, essentially.
Imagine a world without murder. Just 6 years ago, the homicide rate in this country had reached epidemic proportions. It seemed that only a miracle could stop the bloodshed. But instead of one miracle, we were given 3, the precognitives. Within just 1 month under the pre-crime program, the murder rate in the District of Columbia was reduced 90%. Within a year, pre-crime effectively stopped murder in our nation's capital.
In the 6 years we've been conducting our little experiment, there hasn't been a single murder.
And now pre-crime can work for you.
We want to make absolutely certain that every American can bank on the utter infallibility of this system, and to ensure that what keeps us safe will also keep us free.
It's fallen angel tech. And why do you think Musk is launching thousands of these satellites? Cube satellites. 6G project. Known as 6 Genesis. You can't get any more blatant than this. Go read Genesis 6. You'll see exactly who you're dealing with. This 6G-enabled wireless smart society ecosystem. Oh yeah, it sounds great, doesn't it? It'll provide precision localization to a fraction of an inch, supplementing the GPS. This is why they're doing all these tests with the GPS, because this is going to supplement it and essentially take it over, allowing imaging techniques that will identify any person or moving object, and I should have, on the face of the earth. You understand? This is what they're doing. 7G. Let's have a gander at this. You think it's a non-thing? Well, you're wrong. What is 7G? Well, this guy explains to us. And he talks about the transmitters that everyone is up in arms about now. The 5G, like they're doing over in China. They're installing a full-on 5G system over there in order to fight the coronavirus.
You serious?
This stuff is all cell augmentive technology. You need to understand. Sound, you are water, and sound and waves are used to manipulate these things. Thank you to Nicholson 1968. And if you actually observe these things, you'll see you and me are virtually made up of water. And when sound and wavelengths are applied to the water, it can be manipulated very specifically to do what the operator wills it to do. Do you understand? This is a real thing. This is happening right before our eyes.
So, in the future, this technology to save you, change your DNA, we can fix it, came from aliens, outer space, other galaxies. That is why the big lie of NASA, the whole flat earth thing, there is a reason that you're being told that Earth is a globe. There is a reason why it is hard for most to believe in an enclosed, flat, circular system. It's for a bigger reason. And if you look at it for that, and what they're trying to do is circumvent God above us, that we are special. They're wanting to tell you that we're just peons in the millions and millions of galaxies. We're not important. There is no God. We're just spinning through space. That is why. And if you look at it that way, from that perspective, then you understand why we have been lied to. Now, am I saying that I know for sure what the shape of where we live? And here's the thing. Are you positive that there is no other land elsewhere?
Our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. That's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America.
You have to come to the conclusion there are things that we still don't know, and we're never going to know in this realm, and that we've been lied to. Even if you are a Christian, Muslim, religious person at all, or non-religious person, you need to come to the conclusion that the people that are being allowed to rule this earth for a time are lying to us for a reason. Power, wealth, whatever that is. Quit fighting amongst ourselves here and look at it from that perspective. Who is your true enemy? It's not some white guy. It's not some black guy. It's not some Catholic guy. Get beyond that and look at the real enemy sitting in the corner of the room watching us fight. And that's what I'm trying to show. I've been showing for 10 years. It is the elites, and when I say elite, I'm not saying they're special. I'm just saying it is a small group of people working with the demonic spirits, the Nephilim, the things where the technologies are come from, these ideas, is poking the stick at both sides so they see us fight and divide and conquer. The whole thing is being set up, propaganda for humanity to believe in. Because here's the thing, if you don't believe in a creator, and you don't believe why Jesus Christ came and died for you to overcome death, to show you the way, you come as a man and you die as a man to get your new body and live immortally. But if you don't believe that in the future, and you believe that we were created by aliens and they have the technology to fix us, all of that stuff, do you see, I hope you see, that's where it's going. That's why the big push for pre-programming you in movies like Gamer, Replicants, all of this stuff. I mean, it's all part of the plan, is those who are not seeking truth, really seeking truth of what's really going on and searching out the Creator and who actually created us and our DNA, our code. That's why everything that is copied, you have real intelligence from the Creator and you have artificial intelligence. That's not real. It's an illusion. You have certain things in your body like cells. That's why you have technology, cell phones, cell towers. You have chromosomes in your body, and you have Google Chrome. The Creator is known as the Great I Am. That's why everything is copied on the other side with technology. iRobot, iPad, iPhone, iLens. If you have an iPhone, look at the logo. It is an apple with a bite out of it, a forbidden fruit. Now, am I saying that you have an iPhone that's evil? No. What I'm saying is the creators of the Apple iPhone and technology from Apple, they know what it's about. They know where it's leading. The first Apple computer was sold for $666.66. You can look that up on Wikipedia. Do you think that's an accident or a coincidence? Whatever you want to say. No, it's not. So I'm going to show you this clip from a movie called Beyond. Everything that I've shown you for over 10 years is in this exactly what I was shown and been telling you guys of where it's going. And I'll be back. I'm going to show you this clip from a movie called Beyond, and we'll be back. We'll talk a little bit more about replicants with Keanu Reeves and some other things. Be right back.
Do you understand the classified nature of this mission and the legal non-disclosure agreements that you sign, which prohibit you from ever discussing this project to anyone outside of this room?
I understand.
And you understand the full nature of this program?
Yes, I'm fully aware.
This is light and cosmic matter entering and leaving. So what we're potentially looking at here is a wormhole. And we believe that this activity occurred at the same time as the strange dark orbs that have been appearing in our skies.
Talking about probably one of the most important things that has happened in space exploration. And I think we need to move forward on that. I think we need to move forward now.
We could be looking at first contact with intelligent life.
It's the possibility of something else out there for us.
It changes everything.
It's that simple notion which drives the Human 2.0 project.
We could not have been more wrong about all of this.
So there you go. Telling you right there, some truth mixed with lies. That's how the enemy works. And determining what is truth and determining what is the lie, that is the thing that I try to do here on my website and this YouTube channel and other avenues, radio shows, whatever it may be. And there's other people like that that try to separate the two and get you the truth.
What is the 7G? Listen to what this guy has to say.
I'm very pleased to be able to finally announce our 7G vision. Now, if you look at any of the legacy technologies today, like 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, any wireless technology, it works on the principles of transmit and receive. So it's always the transmit part which is a problem, because when you're transmitting something, it consumes power, and of course there is this radiation issues, all kinds of things. And if we do it right, we don't even need a separate receiver. Humans can act as a receiver. So let's say humans, we actually inhale oxygen and emit carbon dioxide. On the other hand, trees, they inhale carbon dioxide and emit oxygen. Now, if we were designed optimally, we could actually consume oxygen or carbon dioxide and emit carbon dioxide or oxygen. So, this is where I think nature failed us. So if we design 7G correctly, we would have a chance to fix all future wireless technologies. All humans, we emit positive or negative energy. So the negative energy could be something like wicked thoughts, jealousy, depression, etc. What if you can use this negative energy and use this as a transmission media? And you can even extend it further. So you can use anything that's harming the environment, like carbon dioxide, methane, whatever, and you can use them as the transmission media. So in return, you have actually consumed all the negative energy or anything that's harming the environment and turned it into something positive. And this can actually be useful not just for humans but also for the environment. The first goal for us is to have a logo designed correctly. Now, if you look at 3G or 4G or 5G logo, it's basically some a number and a letter and with some kind of a radiation sign. This is not something that can connect with people emotionally, spiritually, economically. So what we need to do is we need to design a logo that actually connects with people, and the people can actually buy into this vision.
The most important thing to do is get the logo right. With a good 7G logo, we can get the entire
entire community behind this vision. We are very excited about 7G.
7G promises to bring exciting new innovations into the hands of those participating.
So, they're going to use your actual feelings, your negative and positive energy combined with particulates that they call pollution, carbon, if you will. Remember, they want a carbon-free world. You're carbon-based. They want you gone. That's what it means. So, this is what we're dealing with. You're literally looking at the emergence of the beast system.
It's time. Let's light it up.
Check.
3, 2, 1.
It's working!
And we're just getting started.
Wait until they see what's next.
We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness.
This was by Dr. Weld, Bill H. Weld. In the video, he describes classified documents from the CIA, Naval Intelligence, and the DoD that he has seen personally and has promised his source that he would not bring to the public most of those documents for 2 weeks after this original video went up, to allow his source to finish his retirement and to leave the country, because as soon as these documents are published, his source believes that if he were to stay in the country, he would be killed. The documents describe tiny microcellular-sized killing machines called nanites, because they have an outer coating that is robust and can handle going through the digestive system until they get to the right place to either burrow into human flesh or attach themselves to human flesh to go where they need to go. They're different from the ones that we already know about in chemtrails. Chemtrail nanites we're familiar with, they burrow in the human flesh and they incessantly build polysilicon fibers for the sake of recreating man into cyborg-like creatures. And they are a human experiment, just as in the Holocaust. And they were done on the general public without our knowledge or consent. Morgellons, as you may well know of, which is a dreadful disease of terrible open sores and fibers coming out of the body that doctors refuse to give credence to, is the result of these nanites that are poured down on us in chemtrails. Now, the nanites that he's talking about are made for one simple purpose, and they are to burrow into the bloodstream, gain entrance to the brain and other areas of the body in order to attach themselves to that tissue and lay in wait for classified military frequency signal to give them their working orders.
I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, not a month goes by where I don't get a call at my institute by someone telling me that someone in the government implanted these things in their brain without them knowing. I'm not kidding. And although it may not be that the sky is falling yet, folks, it looks like rain. Bring an umbrella.
The nanotechnology is in the bodies, the brains of all 318 million Americans. Everyone's infected. They've been spraying the nanotechnology into the hydrosphere for the last 25 years, which filters down into the water supply and the food chain. Once ingested, the nanotech then migrates to the brain and adheres to the neurotransmitters of the victim's brain and begins to speak to and decode those neurotransmitters after it's activated. It can be activated, the nanotechnology, from thousands of miles away using a process called directed energy flash and photon.
See, nanocells are real small, 1,000 times smaller than these dust particulates. You inhale it, they go to work replicating, spreading like a virus, multiplying in exponentials. 6 months' time, I could have 100 million people converted, ditch diggers, porn stars, and presidents. Not one would be the wiser. 100 million people who buy what I want them to buy and do pretty much damn well anything I figure they ought to do.
What? A chemtrail. I do know what a chemtrail is. Yeah, and is it true? Well, there's a big debate. Yeah. Are you filming me? Maybe. Okay. No. I don't want to go on record with that. Okay. No, but do you believe it? I don't film that. Well, I don't have enough information for that.
Okay. Yeah, but because I saw a lot of videos on the internet, and it really looks believable.
Well, it's arguable both ways, I think.
Yeah?
Depends on which side you're on, but...
Yeah. But what is your personal opinion of it?
I think there's part of truth.
Part of truth, yeah. Yeah, we should investigate this, because when it's true, imagine so many people, they suffer of this.
Yeah, it's a necessary evil.
About the chemtrail generator. Oh, let's make sure that thing's working. We're gonna check this out.
I got it.
3.6. Oh, look at that! They're working. They're working. You can see the chemtrails coming out of the engines here. Look at that.
I'm dying to take a picture.
Oh, that's cool.
My neighbor, you got it. So
chemtrail I'm doing the video. Chemtrail generators are on, and yeah, there it is. Look, you can see them. All right, that's awesome. It's working.
Yeah. One thing I did is I grabbed mine, and I go along the basic guidelines. I got mine as an example every time, and this one I think I can go mine. Yeah.
At which time they manipulate the brain and other areas of the body to send signals to those other areas of the body to affect what is called a cytokine storm. It's a sort of immune system feedback loop that is like your immune system on steroids. They cause the body's immune system to turn against itself and mimic virulent flu-like symptoms that develop into upper respiratory infection, fluid in the lungs, pneumonia, and eventually death. The target survival rate for the powers that be is 2%. Now they're saying that they want 99% of the populace infected with these things, and most of us are already. This program began in 1995. Now I'm not saying they were sprayed or put into the water or the other places where they're implemented in 1995, but that's when the program began. He put up some documentation. Now, the two documents, I'll read them out to you. The cover page document says DTFN estimates for nano-domestic quell Phase 4 updated compliance, and this is for the Assistant Director of Advanced Projects, the Office of DARPA Command, for the Department of Secretary of Defense, eyes only. Then it describes nano-domestic quell in the other document, and it says that there needs to be more inflows of dispersal in Pepsi Company, 9.9% more, Nestle, 8.5% more. It goes on with the different percentages. Chicago Municipal, that's referring to the water supply. Atlantic Municipal, another water supply. Coca-Cola, Los Angeles Municipal, and Seattle Municipal. These are just a few of the very many areas that these things have infiltrated. To give you a little bit more of a heads up as to where these things are. He gave me the document. He said, this document has it all. It tells you pretty much everything. And so he was saying, yes, it's true, it's real, it's in the water, it's in all these other products. Not only that, it's in vaccines. So these vaccines and so forth are laced with it. That's another interesting thing that we'll talk about.
Well, literally, we have the science, am I correct, to make these little nano machines that can do various tasks. Is that correct?
Yes, and they're made to order. We can make them to order. You just go to the manufacturers and you say, look, I want a nanite that's this big. I want it to do this, 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 and this. I want it to not be susceptible to this. It has to go through this kind of environment. And you just go down the list of what you need, and they will make it for you.
So they take these and they put them into the water supply,
right.
into
Now,
drinks. Go ahead.
Let me describe these nanites just a little bit. The particular nanites that we're talking about are medical nanoscale devices, meaning they're so tiny you can barely see them, or you might not even be able to see them with the naked eye. They're customized with targeted drug delivery, and cell death vehicles carrying large doses of agents, genetic material, or programming targeted to specific cells. Now, these particular nanites that we're talking about, let me get down here. These are the revolutionary kind of nanites that are constructed with a robust, smart nanostructure, and they detect specific cells and identify their location in the body. They can kill the cells or stay right where they are and confirm back having done the job. So they get this frequency and they get their working orders, they do their working orders, and then they report back what they've done when they're finished.
Amazing, amazing. This is insidious. I mean, if we didn't have enough already to worry about chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals in the water supply. I just came out to Nevada, Michelle, and a friend of mine who will remain unnamed warned me. He said, you may want to be careful about drinking the water in Vegas. It could very well be hot, meaning radioactive. Yeah. The report was, he got from his source, that some of the Indian tribes live in land that is next to the Colorado River. Their cattle was coming down with tumors. So it got me concerned, and for many weeks I've been drinking bottled water, but now I want to get to the bottom of this. Has the water supply been contaminated with radiation? That's another show. But if that wasn't bad enough, now we got nanomites.
Right, and it's not just water from municipalities, it's in bottled water as well.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, you remember this public drive that the president's wife went on, how that Americans needed to drink more water. You need to drink at least 9 glasses of water a day and you'll feel better. And the doctors came out and said, that's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. Why would she say this and make it a public drive to do it?
Okay, so Bioinicia is a private company. We are headquartered in Valencia in Spain, and we're specialists in the fabrication of nano and micro fibers and particles by electrohydrodynamic processing, so commonly known as electrospinning or electrospraying. So in Valencia, we've got our equipment manufacturing workshop. We've got R&D facilities based in one of the research institutes in Spain, from which we spun out in 2009. We've also got pilot plant equipment for product development, and a manufacturing plant inside the clean room, which is pictured there, for pharmaceutical and biomedical device manufacture. So that's specifically for nanofiber and microfiber manufacture. We also have a production facility next door to this one for the manufacture of nanoparticles and powders. So we recently achieved ISO 13485 certification, which allows us to manufacture medical devices, and GMP pharma certification for drug-loaded devices. But on the right-hand side, this is a high-speed camera shot of the spinning jet, and you can see that it's one continuous fiber which is collected per spinning needle. And obviously, we use many needles to scale up the process. Electrospinning and electrospraying are very similar in processes, and the hardware is the same. So our equipment can be used for both. We can manufacture fibers and particles in the same machines, the difference being the solution that we process. So a higher viscosity solution, which has molecules inside which entangle with each other during the stretching of the spinning jet, results in fiber formation. A lower viscosity solution, which doesn't have the same entanglement within the solution as it's spinning, it means that the solution is able to break up into droplets, and those droplets break up further into smaller and smaller droplets, and you end up creating nanoparticles. And in both cases, the range of diameters is well controlled, somewhere between about 50 nanometers and several microns, with a typical range for fibers being in the hundreds of nanometer diameter range.
So the next one I want to discuss is replicas with Keanu Reeves. And I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to tell you there are certain actors that are chosen for a reason to play certain parts, and Keanu Reeves is one of those characters. He played Neo in The Matrix. Notice how we've moved forward now from the Matrix series, and look how real that is becoming, The Matrix. Back then, it was all science fiction. That's where all of you're living in the Matrix, you're living in a dream world, all this stuff that has transpired or came and influenced from the Matrix. Look where we are now. It's not so laughable. And so here we have the movie Replicas coming out, trailer that, here we go, he plays a scientist, becomes obsessed with bringing back his family members who died in a traffic accident. Bringing back the dead, resurrection, mimicking and copying what Jesus Christ did, resurrection. It's no accident. Also, one of the stars of who he brings back is none other than a character. This isn't even the character's name. This is supposedly her movie star name, Alice Eve. Now, for anybody that has followed me or watched my videos for any length of time, I did, and I mentioned it earlier in this video, Alice Through the Looking Glass, or Lucifer Through the Looking Glass. Alice is a direct reference to Lucifer, Satan, in occult circles. That's what Alice represents. Alice Cooper, Alice in Chains. I can go on and on where Alice is used in place of and is a code word for Lucifer or Satan. So you have a person here playing who's going to be resurrected by Keanu Reeves, the scientist, an obsessed mad scientist, is going to resurrect Alice Eve, Lucifer, Eve. Notice also in the garden what went wrong. What went wrong in the garden was between Satan, Alice, and Eve. Alice, Eve. See, I mean, it's this very meticulous of who they choose and put in roles. And why that is, it's not for the public masses. It's not for that. It's for the elite, the secret societies. It is a message being told without it being written down. And that's another reason why conspiracies are hard to believe, is there's nothing written down. See, there's people that come to this channel and other channels and go, well give me proof, Nicholson. Where's the papers? Where's the book? Are you kidding me? Do you think it's going to be that easy? And let me give you an example of how a simple, in layman terms, how the elites or secret societies work when they display a message. And this sounds a little, it's an analogy here, is, say for instance, you keep a dirty house. Your house is always a mess, and I come right out and tell you, you need to clean up, get the broom and get the dustpan and clean up just clean this house up. Okay, that's pretty obvious, right? And it's being spoken. Or I could write you a note. When you get home, clean the house. Use the broom and the dustpan and clean the house. Okay, see, that's what the public understand. Writing it down or it being spoken. Now, that's not how the secret societies work. They're much smarter than that. And I do say much smarter than that because they're taught to think this way and communicate this way. Here's how they handle it. They don't say a word and they don't write it down anywhere. What happens is, when you come home, they put a broom in the middle of the house and they put a dustpan in the middle of the house. And you figure it out. You know what that means. Without anybody saying a word or writing anything down, as soon as you walk into the house and you see that broom and you see that dustpan, you know what your next step is to do. That's how it works. It's that simple. And I had to share it that way, so I hope you understand. And sometimes in my earlier videos, that's what I do. I share it that way. I can't come right out and text it. I can't come right out and say it. I put it together on the screen for you, and you have to read between the lines. Because a lot of people were like, why don't you just come out and tell us what that means? I can't. Because if I do, then I get attacked. Spiritually, or could be physically. And that sounds crazy to some people, but I've done this for a long time. And I've never shared that with anybody until today. This is kind of my 10-year anniversary video. I'm telling you some things of why I did what I had to do earlier on this channel. Because I never spoke and I never came on camera for multiple reasons. Because you have to understand how your enemy works. And that is one of the reasons is to connect the dots in a different way other than the way people are taught to look at connecting the dots. Getting back to connecting the dots, let's go back to replicas Keanu Reeves. What is a replica? A replica is simply a copy of the original. And that's really at the basis of what's going on now and what will be really, really important in the future. And what I'm showing is what is the original intelligence, what is the copy or artificial intelligence. And you have to distinguish between the two. What the enemy is attempting to do is blur the line between intelligence and artificial intelligence. What is real, what is not real. Reality, virtual reality. That's where it's going. So I'm going to take you back to 2004 to a movie called Godsend. Okay, the movie is Godsend. Now, this is also a play on words, also how the elite work. Also, this is very important. When I say a person, oh man, you are a godsend. Oh man, she showed up, man, you're a godsend. That means that man, I'm blessed. I'm glad you showed up. You saved the day. You're a godsend. Okay. Now, this is very important. Is if I say to you just simply godsend, Godsend, godsend. Separate it, God's end. So it's the same word, but pronounced or said another way. And how you perceive it, God's end, God's sin. So it's one way is viewed as sounds great, the other doesn't sound so great. Here's another example. I'm going to say a statement, and then based on how you perceive it and where your mind is at the time, you will hear it a different way. Not everybody will agree when they hear it. And here's the statement. I won't sin. I won't sin. Okay? Now, you can perceive that as I won't or I will not sin. Okay? I will not sin. I won't sin. Or I won't sin. I-W-A-N-T, sin. See? Depending on how you perceive it, it's two different outcomes. Same statement, but perceived two different ways. And there's a lot of that going on in today's media, music, movies, everywhere. Perceiving it. That's why conspiracies are right out in the open. They're not hiding anything. It's how you're taught to see them and perceive them and read them. That's the only really difference. And I don't understand why certain people can't see it, but I understand how the secret societies and things, how they work. So let's go back to Godsend, 2004. It's about a couple. They agree their deceased son, they're going to have him cloned, bring him back from the dead years after, like a rebirth, resurrection again, okay? God's end. So they're telling you something actually in the title, two things. And it's very, very subtle to catch it, but like the tagline even tells you is, when a miracle becomes a nightmare, evil is born. See, there's a miracle mixed with a nightmare, the two. It is also the dark and the light, the black and the white, the Masonic. There's something that's not right. There's something that is right, but it's not quite right. And they're telling you things. It's a godsend, it's great, or it's God's end, which is terrible. And what are they talking about here? Same thing I'm showing you is there's coming a time where the body, which once you realize we are the temple of God. Sorry, folks, that if you don't believe in that, I'm sorry, but this is the ultimate game. This is it, guys. The one game is if once you understand where the enemy is focused, it is us. It is the temple of God, humanity, the human brain, mind, all of this stuff for your soul. Okay, so they're resurrecting the son, Adam. Going to resurrect him. But here's where I'm going to connect some more dots for you guys. Everybody made plenty of videos, and they have over the years. This year it's no different, of 9/23. 9/23. Listen to me, people. 9/23. September 23. Do you understand? I'm going to tell you why you see this all over the place and the number of 9/23. Listen, this is it. I'm telling you. Is in prophecy, the secret societies, the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, they all believe in a last kingdom that will be resurrected. Even in the Holy Bible, the last kingdom of iron and clay is a Holy Roman Empire. That's why it's sitting around this country. We still have pieces of it. The Senate, the Hill. You look on the municipal buildings, they have Roman gods everywhere. It is a resurrected Roman Empire, and the first Roman emperor was Augustus Caesar. Okay? He was born, here we go, September 23rd, 63 BC. 3 sixes, 666. I mean, it's all intertwined. He is the first Roman emperor. That's why that's dedicated that number, that's on that day. And they believe in a resurrected Roman Empire for a reason. The Holy Roman Empire, the imperial banner is the double eagle. Get it, folks. Double eagle, double phoenix, doesn't matter. It's all the same. A new world order. It's all the same. And they believe in that one day that it will be resurrected. It's in the works now. That's why they do what they're doing. And here you go. Listen, I go even further here. Adam Duncan. Here's the tagline. It's even on the movie poster. I don't know if you can see. I couldn't find a good copy of it. He was born December 11th, 1987. He died December 12th, 1995. He was reborn September 23rd. Are you seeing here? They're telling you something. That's it. They believe Adam Duncan going to be reborn. He's going to be a duplicate, an antichrist, born 9/23. Then here's the other side. This is a battle, guys. It is a real life battle, spiritually and physically, on a military clock. This is a battle. Some people don't know it's a battle. They're on the battlefield and they don't even know. And they're just getting hit by everything. And they have no clue what's going on. This is a military battle. There's military time even. Okay, so we've said it for a while. 9/11 was an event to the stepping stone. 9/11 was an event to bring in parts of the New World Order, Holy Roman Empire in the end. 9/11. And there's going to be another event, Okay, now look on a military clock, 9/11. Okay, if you go around again, the next event will be on 9, go around to the 11, but on a military clock, it's 2300 hours. So 9/11 was a major event. The next event will happen. I have no idea the year. I don't know that time, but I know that 9/23 is the next go-around. And there's a reason 9/23 is important, and it has to do with that resurrected Holy Roman Empire that is spoken of in the Bible and is spoken of in the secret societies, Freemasonic. It's all over the place. You know, the Planet of the Apes that's coming, it just came out, War for the Planet of the Apes. A new start, a new leader will emerge. Guess who the leader of the Planet of the Apes is? His name is Caesar. It's picked for a reason. They're just telling you subtle ways all through the movies and media.
The thing about what's going on now is how big is the big picture? And I used to think that if you went outside the box, you could see more. And a lot of people believe that this settles at the level of power and control. That if they have all the power, they have all the control, that's what they want. There's actually something beyond that, and that's what I've started to explore. Could it be that artificial materials are being introduced into living things? Here you have, this comes from the nanotech industry. It's what I call the nanotech pyramid. You start with materials, you go up to structures, processes, and devices. Could it be that artificial materials are being introduced into us to create new processes from the ground up, which processes will override our own natural biology, our own internal systems? Nanoarrays are these tiny devices that are used for DNA hybridization. So what processes are going on here? Are these materials combining to form devices that are working together inside us? What is happening to our biology? And remember that tissue samples obtained from ordinary people who have no Morgellons symptoms, no lesions, can be cultured to produce the very same filaments found in people with Morgellons. So we would have to conclude that Morgellons is like the canary in the coal mine, and that only some people are exuding the materials. And could that be because their bodies are rejecting it, while our bodies are integrating it? Jan's body has been sending out these plaques, colored plaques, which are hard pieces of silica. Some of them have these dots on them. They're very small. They require handling with a needle as she places them under a microscope. The plaques are fragile. They can shatter. Quantum dots, which are the colors you see, are nanocrystal semiconductors made of heavy metals surrounded by an organic shell. Now I want you to remember some of these terms. Heavy metals, okay? Heavy metals, aluminum and so forth. So these are nanocrystal semiconductors surrounded by an organic shell, but they are made of heavy metals. And Morgellon subjects are also finding this stuff. Jewel-like hexagons, faceted pyramids, crystals. Hexagons have shown up environmentally, not only in tissues, but they are in environmental fallout. This specimen is provided by Morgellons Research Group, and we have a table here this weekend. Mike and Jennifer from Morgellons Research Group. Just as we're being sold on the idea of a smart environment, a techno-matrix that will vibrate with not just intelligence but connection. What indeed is the World Wide Web? We may think it's the internet, but it will be the humming network of everything connected through ubiquitous intelligence, intelligence that is everywhere. Artificial intelligence will connect the world. Homo sapien will be transformed into Homo evolutus. Biological processes will be run by technology. Living things will not be reproductive. The earth will be populated with engineered species, and all processes will be patented, licensed, and controlled. You could consider nanotechnology the installation of artificial intelligence in living and non-living things. Smart dust and smart motes, for instance, are tiny nanosensors that can float and land anywhere. As Kurt
We've spent years dreaming up a future with robots, for better or for worse. They're either super sweet like Bicentennial Man and WALL-E, or super terrifying like in iRobot and the Terminator. But what if I told you scientists have been making robots that you can't see or hear as they creep up on human civilization? That's right, scientists are making very tiny robots. In the future, these nanobots might be able to deliver drugs anywhere in the body, clean up oil spills, and do a lot more. Time to learn about the rise of molecular machines. These incredibly small gadgets are made from molecules that are orders of magnitude smaller than a human cell. They move, change form, and most importantly, do work on their environment, all thanks to scientists controlling their chemical and physical properties. So far, scientists have created molecular motors, switches, shuttles, turnstiles, and even nanocars. Let's start off with the smallest building block, molecular switches. Here's Dan Clays from the University of Nebraska.
Like light switches, molecular switches go on or off, thanks to molecules undergoing conformational changes. These are simply changes in structure. They've still got all the same atoms attached in the same order, but they can bend or twist in response to a stimulus, sort of like a beach chair that you can fold and unfold. By shining UV light, changing temperature, or prompting chemical reactions in other ways, scientists can force these molecular switches to undergo conformational changes and thus switch on or off.
Switches are so basic, though. These molecular machines can get way more complex. They can be 3D, they can be DNA-based, they can walk. I could go on. So scientists are working toward molecular machines built from many tiny robots working together toward collective motion. So in theory, nanoscale machines could move things at a macro level. Not macro like helping you move your TV, but macro like proteins and cells. Why does that matter?
Well, think about how our muscles work. When you contract your muscles, whether to lift something heavy like your TV, or just put on a gun show, your muscle isn't working as a single machine. It's millions of tiny muscle cells, and inside those muscle cells, even tinier sarcomeres that make your muscle fibers contract and extend. Sound familiar? There have been some attempts to make nanobots to work as artificial muscles. These are light-activated nanosheets, sliding in a motion similar to natural muscle fiber. And much like real muscles, these tiny machines' movement can cause a much larger movement relative to their own size.
So in the future, this means we could potentially implant artificial muscles into our bodies. Another cool application would be transporting nanocargo, such as drugs or information, around our bodies and in the environment. These single molecule-sized nanocars and nanotrucks have spherical wheels, rotating axles, and a molecular chassis. They can be powered by shining light or using other chemistry tricks. On a slightly larger scale, micro-rockets and micro-submarines could also move around and deliver slightly larger cargo. For example, microsubmarines could be unleashed in order to capture and remove oil in the event of massive oil spills. Both of these micro-machines work by reacting with surrounding solutions to form gas bubbles that propel the micro-vehicles around. And they pick up and drop off cargo also using chemistry. They can pick up oil and water through hydrophobic interactions, or could pick up magnetized cargo by adjusting surrounding magnetic fields.
All of this sounds great, but there are still plenty of examples of other technologies that beat out molecular machines on efficiency, speed, and capabilities. These miniature workhorses use much less energy compared with bigger machines, but scientists still have to figure out how to take advantage of that before nanobots can work for us.
Michelle, can these nanites be remotely activated, or are they pre-programmed to do their mission at a certain time on their own?
They are pre-programmed, but they are activated when they're given their working orders. Basically, when the military, the top secret classified military frequency is sent out, is emitted, they get that frequency order. Okay, now it's time to do your task. Once they're done with their task, they report back. Or if it's a continuing task, they report as they go. Now, a new report reveals that at least 104 food packaging, and agricultural products contain nano ingredients. They're now on sale internationally. These include diet replacement milkshakes, cooking oil, tea and fortified fruit juice, food additives sold for use in processed meats, soft drinks, bakery and dairy products, long life and antibacterial food packaging. It's in the packaging, and antibacterial kitchenware.
Amazing.
Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation.
We are not professing to tell you the complete story of these activities. We are professing to tell you the complete story that we know. But these records that we've uncovered don't tell the story. They tell pieces of it.
This is a story that has been told in bits and pieces. This is an attempt to pull most of it together.
Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret.
I want to now go to what I think this is, what you're about to see. First of all, what you're about to see is going on in you right now, everywhere in you. We're going to let you look briefly at a cell made by the chemistry department at Harvard University, which was getting a little worried that it wasn't getting chemistry majors. So they thought maybe they should do something jazzy. So they know that textbooks in chemistry, you know, the chemistry always looks like circles and very boring. So they said, let's just actually make it like it is.
So this is basically what's going on in your cells right now. These are different fibers assembling, disassembling your cells. This is a molecular machine that walks around in your cells right now. It's called a kinesin and transports things. So for example, when things want to move around your cells, they don't just float around randomly. They actually actively moved around with little machines, little robots, nanobots that power your cells. What you see here is actually an amazing machine coming out of these little pores, which actually assembles other machines. This is like the factory floor of your cells. It's called a ribosome. It reads your RNA. RNA comes from the DNA, it's translated into RNA, and then it basically gets read out by these ribosomes, and they make new machines which then do other things. So there's all kinds of machines in your cells, things that rotate, things that walk, things that make other machines, things that read RNA, things that copy DNA, that open,
Let's look at this again while we talk about it. Can we look at it a second time? First of all, how fast is this in real life, all these things going on?
Oh, some of those things can happen quite fast, some kind of slow. And that's actually an interesting thing of a nanoscale. You can create all kinds of time scales depending on how many pieces have to act together. Some things can happen in nanoseconds, some in milliseconds, some in microseconds. You know, they're actually, they make steps in the kind of millisecond range, I would say.
In the what?
Like milliseconds or thousandths of a second. And so
you can have this
move. So it's actually faster than that. It's much faster than that. So they made it kind of looking.
So this is a garbage man. That big wet sack is just cell garbage, and he's going to take it up this tube, or it is going to take it up.
Yeah, there are some machines that walk from the inside of the cell to the outside of the cell to kick garbage out, and others that go from the outside of the cell to the inside cell to bring the good stuff in. So they're specialized machines. They only walk in certain directions.
Is this, what about the color? That's pretend, right?
Yeah, that's, those things are so small you really can't, you know,
it would be very dark, I mean, unless you had stage lights or something. Yeah. This is a copier?
Yeah, that's a copier, and that little wormy thing coming out is a new protein coming out, and here's a new protein has formed, two of them linked together, and they make a new nanomachine that goes off to do its thing.
So this is this is what plants have and animals have and we have. We're built from these things.
Right. This is what's going on in your cells right now.
And so you look inside, and I think it would be fair to say that this seems extraordinarily complicated, extraordinarily sophisticated, extraordinarily, to use a careful word, miraculous.
While declares self-replicating nanotechnology will infuse everything around us with itself.
I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemicals. I'm breaking in, shaping out, and checking out on the prisoners. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa. Don my clones, it's a revolution, I suppose. We're painted red to fit right in. Whoa. I'm breaking in, shaping up, and checking out on the prisoners. This is it, the apocalypse. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Radioactive, radioactive. Radioactive, radioactive. Systems grow. The sun hasn't died. Deep in my bones, straight from inside. While systems grow, the sun hasn't died. Deep in my bones, straight from inside. I'm waking up, I'm feeling in my bones to make my system grow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age. I'm waking up, I'm feeling in my bones to make my system grow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Radioactive, radioactive.
I'd like to call to order this secret conclave of America's media empires. We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong, in dark rooms glued to their televisions, too terrified to skip the commercials.
Well, I think...
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak. I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
A new disease. No one's immune. It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic. And instead of summer, it's all the time.
That is smoking. Now, I hate to be the guy who derails what everybody else loves.
He loves being that guy.
But, Janice, we do have standards. This can't be a made-up disease. The only moral thing to do is release a deadly virus into the general public.
We do have something we've been holding on to, but it hasn't been tested. Get over here, NBC.
Well, we certainly believe in testing, but Wow. Oh, yeah.
So, we've got our deadly disease. Now, we just have to blame it on something that's in every household, something that people are a little bit afraid of already. House cat flu is coming, people. The Center for Disease Disinformation predicts with some degree of probability that the house cat flu might spread in the following hypothetical outbreak pattern.
So petter beware, that warm body on your lap just might be ready to destroy your tender fiddles. Springfielders are advised to stay tuned for more information if they experience any of the following symptoms: mild thirst, occasional hunger, tiredness at night.
Gotta get a juicer. Gonna drink juice, lose weight, won't get chest pain from answering the phone anymore.
Please don't tell the supervisor I have the flu. I've been working with a shattered pelvis for 3 weeks.
Oh, my juice loosener's never gonna come.
Hey, Dad, this came for you in the mail.
Mother, get an extra special hug ready. I bought you a new juicer. Good Lord. Flu germs entering every orifice in my head. Ugh.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
What the?
The dreaded Osaka flu has hit Springfield with over 300 cases now reported. Now over to Arnie Pie with Arnie in the Sky.
Route 401 is going around and around and around and around and around. And look out at the corner of 12th and Main because I'm going to be sick. Whoop.
Okay, Mr. Sun, give me what you got.
98.6. You're fine. Now hurry up or you'll miss your bus. Maybe you better take that temperature one more time.
Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here comes that rain I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. Bop, bop, dum, bop.